I decided I wouldn't be late today, so I'm actually going to be a little early. Let me check my other phone and see what time it is. It's 5:58, which is about 2 more minutes. I'm going to set up and everything, so I'm going to do some cool artwork for you guys tonight. Let's see if I can just go ahead and put this out there so more people can see. And I'm 2 minutes early, so usually 6 o'clock ish to the time. All right, so I'm going to do, I have to get my tape. My tape set up. All right. Cool. Let's go ahead and chat filter all messages. Okay. Here we go. I'm gonna start this up. Okay, so I guess my Wi-Fi isn't on for this one, so I can't see anything. I'm gonna see if I can just go ahead and set make sure my Bluetooth is on. My Bluetooth. Okay, my Bluetooth is now on. Okay, let me get some more stuff. I have another minute, so I'll be right back. Right now. Get my tape. Hello, everybody. This is me. It's great to have you here today with me. Right now it's 2 o'clock. I'm going to be pretty much on early today. Last week I tried to do it, but it was I was late. But this time we're going to be on point. And so I got a roll of tape out there, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to start working on something. And when somebody joins, I'm going to go ahead and add everyone to or start working on stuff. So there's so many topics to talk about today. So, but I want to just kind of just jump into it and say, thank you for being here tonight. It's a pleasure to have you with me. And do a volume check. Let's see if everything's good. Right? And so here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to start working on a sculpture. And pretty much if you guys have any like for me to make, just let me know, okay? For the most part, though, I'm going to work on I don't know, any kind of creatures. I just want to say how things have been going so far. This has been a very interesting week. I got a chance to do a lot of things. We went to Home Depot. I fixed my car. I finally fixed my car. I put a video. It's going to upload. I put it on my Instagram, but I'm going to put it definitely put it for you guys to see it. So here I am this time. I just want to go ahead and just let you guys know. Give me an idea quick before I start making something. Let me know because I can start working on anything. But in the chat, go ahead and let me know what I'd like for me to make. I'll make something for you live, and then we can talk about it as I'm making something because I can actually make something and talk at the same time. So folks, I just want to go ahead and do that. I got working on one of the things that today was a shower. Right, I pretty much had to work on the shower. Well, did the shower part with a shower filter. We installed that today, and then also we got a chance to do. I got to work on the sink. I got working on the bathroom sink. I worked on a kitchen sink a little bit here, so I'm in the kitchen. Worked on a kitchen sink, and that was pretty cool. Then let me see, fix them here a little bit so you guys. Yeah. And then so I'm gonna make a person until you guys stop me or ask me to make something else. But for right now. So working on a kitchen sink was interesting. I got the better wrench and I started working the wrench stuff. And then what ended up happening was I couldn't get it out. So I have an angle grinder now. And so an angle grinder is actually someone said this. I met a plumber at the Home Depot the other day, and he said to me, "The angle grinder is the greatest thing God has ever made." And I was just like, "Well, I know God didn't make it, but people did make it. I guess wisdom of it all. But for the most part, though, making an angle grinder was like really, really a cool thing because I mean that thing I just used it because one of the pieces for the bathtub, for the sink in the bathroom had to be grinded like chopped off, right? So I had to actually take it and establish, and I had vice grips holding on this piece of metal, and I had to use the angle grinder. So let me show you the box of it. This is the box. This is the one pretty much. This is the angle grinder. This by the way at Home Depot. This is on sale, right? Normally the price of it is $129. I'm not sponsored by Home Depot or anything like that. But this angle grinder here, right? This is actually. Hey, how you doing? This is actually $50 right now. $50 at Home Depot. So very much so. So I got that, and also I got a. I got that, and also I got I got a let's see, I got that, what do you call it, the angle grinder, and also a jigsaw, which is pretty much, I've been wanting to get a jigsaw for like forever. So here's the situation there. This is like pretty much, I'm gonna make a person with a body, and then from there, you're gonna see how cool it's gonna be. So for the most part though, I was working on a couple of sculptures. I want to show you one of the sculptures I worked on the other day. This one is pretty cool. You've seen this guy already. You've seen him. This guy here, he's the Yeti, right? So you have the Yeti. And I haven't put any eyes into him yet, but I think I might or might not, because what happens is that, you know, if you put eyes into something, it kind of like, you know, takes away or adds to it, you know? And so you have that there. I'm going to put like little eyes right there, see what happens. Little eyes right here, like this, right? Like this, since you have one eye, like this. And then this one here is that, you know, like this. And so what happens, I'm going to put it like this, like that, so you have two eyes right there, right? And there's that. The next thing too, pretty much, is like, next thing too is like what I'm going to do. I had another one I was working on. This one's for one of my coworkers who was asking me to make something for him. And last week I made this one. This one I made last week. I made this one last week, and this is like the Tarks, like a Tarks from the last week I made a heart, because last week was my anniversary, my engagement anniversary. I married my wife 23 years ago, but 24 years ago we got engaged. And so this is like, we made this a week before. So a week before I made this one. It's a Tarks, and it's a lady Tarks with extra arms, right? So that's pretty cool. And then a coworker was asking me to make something. So I'm in the process of just kind of working on this one. It's kind of like a Birdman kind of a thing here. So this, right? So I'm in the process of making something really cool. So let's keep talking. So I'm gonna see what's going on there. I have this thing where I'm gonna go ahead and make another person. And currently, right now, and so what happens is, like, you know, you have this thing where I'm in the process of making. Let me know if you guys can hear me in the chat. If everything is there, if you can hear me. And also, if you can give me an idea what to make, if you guys are in the chat, let me know definitely what sculpture I can make, because I'm gonna make like either, you know, what character have I not made yet? What character? I made a lot of characters, but you know, we've been watching the movie, watching the show, The Walking Dead. So my wife and I have been watching that movie. And in between that, we kind of like because the thing is, like, when it was out there, coming out live on television on AMC, it was, you had to wait once a week in order for everything to happen. You had to wait 1 week for every episode, right? But we got the box set. So the box set, what we're doing with that is that we were able to watch it, like, you know, so when you watch it, you're able to see the full gamut of it, and it's quite interesting. Quite interesting thing called The Walking Dead. I didn't know I was gonna like it so much. I really didn't know I was gonna like it so much. What happened was, like, I know something happened in my life, and it just got me to start watching this show, and just about the whole thing about the zombie attack and everything like that. So just pretty much, something happened, and I wanted to just kind of like start watching this show, because it was one of those things that the show has shown how people survive in tough situations, you know. And it's ironic because this was 11 years. So it started like let's see, what it was, 11 years. It went right through 2022. So I think 2011 is when it started. You know, so I was in my part of life, we had just left the institutional church, right? We stopped going to formal church situations, right? What ended up happening was that we started going to meeting people at their house, right? It's called an organic church, where you go from not being at a location per se. I'm gonna make a lizard man. That's what I'm gonna do. Make a lizard man. Let's do that. Make a man as a lizard. I like making lizard people. Let's make the reptilians. Make our leaders. So what happens is, like, I usually don't make politicians, but I'll make a reptilian. So let's go ahead and do that. We have this thing where, for the most part, though, I can make a lady lizard. I haven't made a lady lizard yet. So we have what ended up happening was we started really taking to this show how great it is, because we got through the first, second, and third season. Right now we're on to season 4, and season 4 has been like one of those really cool things where we're just kind of learning a lot of stuff, you know. I cannot believe how cool it has been, just learning and watching it. One thing I liked about the show, and I just to go back to my first thought, was talking about like how I was doing repairs in the bathroom. What happened with our sink in the bathroom had been, like, you know, I never got a chance to work on it for such a long time, and I said, you know, because I just never had the opportunity and never had the drive. And so just the other day when my car started breaking down, I got to the point where I was just kind of fed up with the car, you know. But then, and the other day I also got, like, you know, I got shocked by the car. I made a video about that, how, you know, I was watching this video on YouTube, and this guy, he was trying to show you how if you unplug certain things in your vehicle, it'll cause your vehicle to stall, you know. And so what ended up happening for me was that I was like trying to figure out which one was causing the car to stall. And in the process of that, I learned that you don't touch an active car with the battery on. That's, or the car on, I guess. Because what happens, there's cars got capacitors and things in it, and so something that's a regular, like for example, stun gun, right? A stun gun, you have a stun gun situation. If you take a stun gun and you just, the whole process of it all is the capacitors cause it to save up all that storage. Now, I'm not 100% on this, but for the most part though, a capacitor and pretty much an amp, like it could hype up the system, right? So a car makes voltage, 12 volts, of course, to power and all these things, like a power inverter, DC current. DC current is the one that people get shocked and killed by, the current. So that's the whole thing with it. Back in the day with Con Edison and George and Westinghouse and everything like that. They were doing the whole current wars and trying to figure out how to make current better. And then it was like Tesla who figured out alternating current and made things better. So yeah, so your car battery is direct current, right? And that direct current can be zooped up to really high numbers of voltage. So I got shocked, yes, last week at I thought 12 volts, but it's actually more like 12,000 volts, yeah, to 45,000 volts. So yeah, the guy at the mechanic shop yesterday, I saw him, because we got through the whole thing, and he still got the P302 code, which is the second cylinder, right? Cylinder number 2, 302. And then we got a new code, was P303. And that code itself was a kind of a deadly code because, well, it's a code that says it's random. A random cylinder misfire, which means any one of the cylinders, any one of the 6, we have a V6 engine, could actually misfire. And having it misfire means that you have to figure out which one and why. So, I thank God for the mechanic I was able to be with yesterday. He didn't fix the car, he just kind of gave me advice. And he said that pretty much if you throw a code, because I was trying to figure out maybe it's a vacuum hose leak, because a vacuum hose can cause you to have a misfire, as well as a, not just a vacuum hose, but you can also have a misfire with lack of air, a misfire with lack of fuel, a misfire with a bad spark plug, a misfire, just about anything in the car could cause you to have a misfire, right? And specifically if it's on, so when I got shocked, I was on cylinder 4 when I got shocked touching the live car, which is stupid. Don't ever do that, okay? Honestly, don't ever do that. So what ended up happening is this, right? We have we worked on a car yesterday and we got it to work. We found out it was actually the ignition coil. The ignition coil is the thing that connects all 6 pieces together, right? So the 6 pieces that 6 wires, the wires in the front, the wires in the back that go to the spark plug, that gives it the timing for when to ignite, so it could possibly work with the fuel system. That is something there that my that I found out about the hard way. That but actually the mechanic actually explained that to me and showed me that he said to me that it's most likely your ignition coil. He said if it's not the ignition coil, then you have to change something else. So yeah, definitely what I've been doing, I've been learning about different stocks, talking about, because there's certain things you buy. For example, it's like 3M. 3M is the one I use for my masking tape artwork, right? My masking tape artwork is this is 3M. It's contractor grade tape, right? And the contractor grade tape is, I don't use regular 99-cent street tape because that's kind of like, one, it's not as good as the contractor grade. Number 2, it's the thing of what happens is that you have the situation where the AutoZone also, I pretty much live at AutoZone. If I'm not living at the museum or at the Home Depot, I'm pretty much at AutoZone. That's one of my 3 places. I don't go there to think or anything. I used to go to the library to think and go to like bookstores and stuff, but now there's like no bookstores here in Queens. The only one that's nearest one is further out. And I totally just didn't go out with my family today, which is like, I was so hoping to do that. But what happened was that I had to get this thing done with the sink. And so when I'm done with this movie today, I'm going to go back and work on the sink some more and finish it, because I got almost 90% of it complete. I had to go outside and angle grind it and stuff and get the part that was just kind of damaged some, and to make it into, make it the right part so it could fit on the wall, because there was a piece that stuck out. There's a part where you push the thing down and it opens up the drain. So you push it down, it goes up, and when you pull it down, up, it goes down, right? And what that does, it keeps the water so the water can fill up, right? Anyway, what happens is this, right? I'm just like, I had to get, the part was where the sink touched the wall, that little pipe went right through it, far to the wall. So I had to actually slice it. That's why I used the angle grinder to cut it. So that's what happened. So I had to use it. So it was good. I'm glad I got the angle grinder, got a chance to actually use it. But again, if you go to Home Depot, you can get one for $50. It's on sale, I think, until the end of the month or something. I don't know if there's any left while supplies last. And it has no battery. It doesn't have the battery. It doesn't have any tools with it. It just has the tool itself. It's no extra battery, no extra piece like that. So anyway, let's read what's in the chat. Okay, let's see what we have in the chat so far. It says on the chat, someone says, Landon Davis says hi, and I said hi. How you doing? Swag says, my girl left me, bro. Okay, I'm sorry to hear that. Got to figure out what the reason what that's about. Amy Jones says, sorry, bro. And then Osmara Torres says, hi, I'm new. My name is Kaden, and yeah, I'm a girl. So thank you for sharing that with me. And so I hope you have a situation with your your girlfriend or whatever, and your girl left you. It could be a girl, it could be a wife. I'm not sure. It could be your daughter. Left you. Whatever it is, you got to work on yourself and make sure that you do a self-introspection, because most people in this world, they don't think about the consequences that they do. They think about how other people respond to them, like the world is theirs or something. In fact, we're all part of a collective. Honestly, there's an aspect of it. I think about school and how school works. School is designed to make us think of ourselves as cogs, as part of a collective, really. But what happens is that when we were made, we actually made in the image of God. So we actually have a lot of worth and a lot of value, because God made us. Now, just like I'm making this structure here, this structure has a lot of worth, to me, because this is like reminds me of the time when I'm working right now talking to you guys. And as I'm making this creature, making this character, it's like I'm just really thinking about what it's like, what it's like to make a character and to just make something that somebody could actually see, and and while you're sitting here watching it. So if you rewind this and you watch forward, you can see me actually to the point where I'm making this. So I'm making this live as I'm talking. So okay, so we were talking about pretty much repairing the sink. So I'm in the process of repairing that sink. I'm gonna probably angle grind that too, and see if I can get that to work. The other part too is it's kind of hard to do that, because you're in a tight space under the sink trying to. What happens? There's we have a 2-part sink. One part is for the dishes. The other part is like a drain too. So we have the dishes in the sink on one side, and so what happens is the one side on this side broke. The pipe that connects to it broke, and so we're gonna reset it up and stuff. So I've done it before. It's like I give a shout out to my dad, who I'm a mom, because my parents, because what happens is that my mom was a teacher and my dad was a carpenter, and so what happens with them, they taught me how to analyze things and to look at stuff, whereas my mom was very she was like a school teacher. She loved children, and she was a very wonderful person in terms of how she handled people. She was very compassionate, and a lot of the good side of me comes from my mom. And my dad was very cynical, and he was very but he was always very jokey too as well. But so he taught me carpentry. He took me a couple times out to how to do stuff, and it's like pretty much I didn't really take to it as much as I could have, because what happened was when you're a kid, when you work a full week of school is like a job when you're a kid, right? And so you go to school and you're just pretty much trying to make your grades and try not to get beat up by bullies and things like that, and and then when you come home, you want your Saturday morning cartoons, and my dad would drag me off to work on some of his houses. He had a couple houses back in the day. And so he would drag me out to go work on a house and hold a hammer and smell, he smelled the sheetrock and stuff like that. And I did that. My sisters never got a chance to do that, but I got a chance to do that a lot. He took me on many trips. Many times, we went down to on a trip to Florida. He took me on a trip to Florida, and I got a chance to see, he was buying land and stuff like that. And that's all. I was 11, 12 at that time. And we went to my home country, Dominica, together. So we did a lot of stuff where we went places, And it was just of late, my dad has been really kind of, I can't get into much details about it, but one of the things is it's you got to appreciate people when you're young, and really you have kids, just talking in general. If you have kids, you need to just make sure you spend time with them. Now, I know I'm here on this live stream right now, but I just spend a lot of time with my kids, my wife and children. We do a lot of stuff together, and today is is one of my days off, so I got a chance to just kind of get working on some stuff. There's some things around the house I got to work on, and also my art, because this is the art that I love to do, and it's kind of like a release for me. And as I'm sitting here working on this, I'm thinking about repairing the bathroom, thinking about talking to you guys, and what you guys are thinking. Some people have written down there about what they're thinking and what they're saying, so I can see their thoughts there, But definitely, if you guys write anything in the chat, I'll read it, as long as it's not curse words or something, or some political something. I'm not really. I talk about politics once in a while, but for the most part, that when I'm at live stream, I try not to talk about politics. I try to talk about things that I'm kind of working on. I got this shirt at Five Below, and it's really cool. Sasquatch. Sasquatch has been my thing lately. I don't know what about him. The whole thing, Sasquatch and Bigfoot and Yetis and things. I think it's going back to the Bible, talking about the giants, you have Goliath and stuff, and the Amalekites and everybody and all the giant. And so I don't know. So it's kind of I'm just kind of been my thing lately of late, And if ever you want to give a super chat, feel free to do that. I love that. I'll even, may even make the thing that you requested. You put a super chat. But for the most part, though, this is one of the things here. I'm making like a creature, and the thing is this, right? Back to the train of thought. It's like I just been kind of on this giant trip lately. In the Bible talks about this guy. His name is Ezekiel, right? And he was one of the prophets, And I remember listening to these things. There was like a live thing they made of the video, like I think it was the Bible Project, right? And they talked about how Ezekiel, he had to make like some kind of like puppet theater thing, and he was making something. He was making like artwork, and it was showing that it's going to be like destroyed or something. And I hope you guys get a chance to hear this part, but he's like he had to make like a puppet theater of like horses and villages and stuff, and he had to go and destroy it later. And I always wonder sometimes, maybe that's kind of what I'm doing. Maybe it's like of late. This has been something that's been recent. From 2019, I started making this masking tape art, and this is before the pandemic. And then during the pandemic, I was making art, and then I continued onwards. And then it was just one of those things where it's like, man, it just kept on going. So, and then we just did a couple things with the classes, and the classes were pretty cool. I like the classes, but it's one of those things where you're not sure exactly how things are going to go. So you got to revamp and rethink and just reprocess and try something different. So I want to have the classes again. I think I might just go ahead and do that. But for the most part, though, I am just right now kind of recuperating and trying to figure out what's the best thing to do. So that's why I'm kind of doing more live YouTube videos. Now you probably wonder like, why didn't I do any live? I did a lot of like, I have a lot of recording of stuff, and so I still can actually put it into a format where people can actually see some of the classes that we had. But for the most part, though, I'm gonna just keep working on some more stuff. And don't say what you're gonna do, say what you already did. So let's talk about what we already did. So yesterday, I fixed the distributor in the car, the distributor, but the ignition coil, which looks like a distributor, what a distributor would be, and that's distributing the sparks for the car to fire the pistons, and it's pretty much ignition coil. And then today, we did the shower, fixed the shower in the bathroom. And we made it so that it's not purified water. And then pretty much I'm going to fix the air purifier. We have an air purifier here. And the air purifier, I haven't finished that one yet. But still in the process of kind of like just getting the bathroom finished. And so I got 90% of it done. I just got to put it back on the wall and reattach the cables, reattach the water. And that'll be everything. I'll be completed. And so that's one of the things. So yeah, so for the most part, though, it's like work has been kind of interesting. The job I work at, it has been a very interesting job, and I'm pretty much I'm a technician. I'm a technician, and I work in the airport. And when I'm working there, we get a chance to solve problems. And so they say because there's 3 types of different people. There's the entrepreneur, the one who dreams up the dream of the business, and you have the managers, the ones who make sure the workers are doing their job. Because managers are not really, there to innovate or make something better. They're kind of like there to get the job done. So, I don't know. I as an entrepreneur in my own business, I'm kind of making my stuff better and kind of enhancing and improving. So, like a technician, but the entrepreneur is the one who dreams up the job. He's the one who dreams it all up. So when you have an entrepreneur, he's sitting there dreaming it, making this dream happen. When you have the managers are not there to make dreams happen. They're made to complete the tasks of the day to day. So this was listening to. They talked about that. The managers, their position is that to just make sure things are operational. I can show you guys Barb. I just thought about it right now. Barb is kind of in the cage. She hasn't been free. I can go show you guys Barb if you want to see Barb. But I can't hold Barb in. I guess I can put it on my shoulder. I'm going to go get Barb real quick. I'll be right back. Just stay right here. I'm going to put this person right here. I'm going to go get Barb, and you guys get a chance to see Barb. And listen to me as I talk. I'm walking down the hallway. So... So, am I walking back? I have Barb on my shoulder now. And so I'm going to put her here. She's going to probably want to try and escape. So here came right back. And here's Barb. So this is Barb. Barb is a bearded dragon. And so what happened, the story of Barb was that she was actually a rehome pet. Because what happens, one of my friends, they know that I'm on my Instagram, they know I'm a dinosaur person. I like dinosaurs a lot. And reptiles and stuff. I think the reason I like them is because they're so cool. They're actually like really cool creatures altogether. So here's Barb. I'm gonna get a little closer. You can see her. See, there she is. She's like really cool. Let's just put her up. You see what happened? These little overlords, right? What they do, they always go behind you, They want to like kind of go on your back. I've seen it. Every time you put a lizard out somewhere, they just want to climb up on you and just be like, hey, I'm your overlord, don't forget. Okay, so even the little reptilian ones, the little ones here, they're pretty much, they're out to get you. Just know that, okay? Don't forget. All right, just the masters right there. So right now I'm making one of the reptilian masters myself, right here, and this is here, as you can see. This is the one, and he's very flexible. I made this one. I made one of the bird person, right? I'm gonna show you this one here. This one is like, this one's like reminds me of like the Anunnaki or something, right? And the Anunnaki are like the giant bird people, but it's actually like an eagle. And so I started working on making the hinges better. So you have like things like better hinges and musculature, right? So you have that. Then you have like, you know, also for the knees. So the thing about knees, right? I was making these things with puppets and stuff. And I was like thinking, how do you keep the knees from like bending sideways? Well, you have to kind of like, you know, our knees have like the sliding like cartilage inside of our knee, and it helps keep our legs straight. You know, if we bend our legs like too much that way, it'll actually break, and that's terrible. But for these guys here, you have like that. So you have this person like that. You have this whole scenario right there, right? And then so the other one too, the lady one I made before, she's like a thing where she has like a bendy type stuff as well. She can bend her arms, and she's like the Tarks, one of the Tarks. Right, and so that's something there. This is kind of like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep working, not on this one, but on the this lizardy man type thing. So I'm making all these weird creatures. This weird, it kind of keeps coming out. And I don't know, because before, you know, when you make like, you can make like, if you can make anything with masking tape, you can make the alien, the predator, and all that stuff. But it's like, you know, eventually you start like saying, I'm gonna start making my own stuff, my own design. And I'm totally interested in this whole thing with foam. I've been watching that, and I watched another thing with a guy doing this thing with silicone. They were doing like a silicone type thing where they were just kind of like pretty much just making this cool silicone type work. So I'm thinking I might do something with silicone. But lately, the one that has been really getting me and really, I've been really inspired by is this guy who makes paper engines, right? If you look at paper engines, right? He's making this guy, his web page or his Instagram or YouTube is called Paper Airplanes, or Paper Engines. And so he's making like 1-stroke engine, 2-stroke V engines like that out of paper. And I'm like, dude, that's awesome, you know? And I've been watching that stuff, so I kind of like go into and like just comment on his stuff. And I'm just admired by that. I admire that stuff because I love engines, honestly. I think engines are the coolest thing in the world. It's like taking a square and making the square do so many things. I mean, you can pull a car, the car can pull, you know, stuff. It can carry people, it can bring them places, you know, power airplanes. I mean, an engine is what? And there's that movie, The World Engine, Mortal Engines, right? Where are you going, Barbie? Okay, so there's like the mortal engines right there. See, I told you, these overlords, they always go on your back. Always. I mean, she could go on top of my head, you know, but no, she wants to go on my back. She wants to like ride on my back like some kind of like this, like human slave. Oh goodness, what happened? Okay, put you on top of my head. Now you are on top. Are you happy now? I'll put you on top of my head. Okay, so now you're there. All right. And so gotta keep my little she's gonna be all cool. She's not gonna even move when she's on top of the head, because that's where they want to go. You want to go right to the top, you know, these lizards. And so she's a pretty cool. We've had her since 2020, and she has been. After we went to Niagara Falls. We went traveling. We saw the Ark, you know, Noah's Ark over in Kentucky. We did all that. We drove all over the place. And what happened was, like, when we got her in November, a friend of ours saw that, you know, she was, and so from there on, we was always carrying her with us. So when we went to Florida in 2022, she came down to Florida with us. We had her in the hotel, and she just loved being there. And she's like, I think she's like 7 years old or something now, because when we got her, she was 2, and that was in 2020. And now we're 2025, and so if she was 2 then, that makes her 7 now. So, yeah, I got a 7-year-old little lizard on top of my head, right? So they said it was 2. So here's this guy here. I wonder if it's like too bright, because I mean, like, I have the thing where it's like see, the thing is, like, my light is here, right? This is my light source, right? And oh, sorry, Barb. My light source is right here, right? And right above me. And so what happens is, like, it might have it like it's totally blown out. Where are you going? Okay, you want to come back down? Okay, wait, come down. All right, so back there. Is something you see? It's all in green back there. I mean, anyway, so yeah. It's like the Horlick. Maybe too much green. If I put it on the floor, she's gonna escape. She's gonna go for a nice run somewhere. Anyway, so this is something cool. So yeah, for the most part, this is what I got so far. Gonna give it some more. I'm gonna start filling out the depth and stuff. Maybe I'll make like a bearded dragon man or something like that. So we call it Beardy Man. Beardy Man. Wait. Oh. Okay, I'm gonna put it like on my belly. Come here to my belly. Right here on my belly. Okay, how's that? All right. Okay, good. Would be crazy. Get bitten on live TV by a lizard in my neck. You know, wouldn't that be crazy? Just mess me up. So for the most part, though, yeah. So we have this lizard, and she's like, she eats a lot. And they were so nice to me. They gave us the cage, and they gave us the food and an enclosure. They gave it all set up and stuff, which has been like, one of those things where, you really think about it, like how cool that is, that to actually give you something that's like, that's complete. So yeah, I'll show you some close up of her. I'll give you a close up shot. Let's see. This is Pets. She wants to climb. She's right there on the back, such like a snake. Oh, don't fall, baby. All right, here it goes. Woo! All right, here it goes. Here it goes. Here's a barb. And so yeah, she's huge. See how big she is? She's like as long as my arm. She's like from arm to tail. Right, she's right about this long. Right, this is the tail part, right? And then you have this here. There she is, right there. So then I show you Barbie. Her name before it would call her Bulma. That's the name that they call her, Bulma, like from Dragon Ball Z. But for the most part, though, we didn't like the name Bulma. We thought she's more like a Barb because she has spikes. She has all these spikes in her. See all these spikes right there? These spikes are very sharp. So if you go this way, it's nice, but this way, it doesn't. You cannot. It's a one-way spike system, right? So she's a pretty cool lizard. And so we went to a place the other day where they had like animals and lizards and stuff, as they were showing us in the library, and we were just kind of just totally just like in love with the new lizard. But we love our Barbie. Barbie's the best, right? Barbie's the best. So we usually give her showers and stuff like that. So Barbie. This is huge. I was to take a measure her with a ruler to see how big she is. I'll get a ruler real quick. Come on. Notice you don't have a ruler. I need one. Look behind the cloth. Look behind the cloth. Oh, that's my angle grinders. I just put it over there. It's behind the cloth. So, yeah, this is pretty much she is a cool lizard. She's so cool. Get it back here. Climb, baby, climb. So we have that there. And where's the lizard man? Okay, right here. Let's fill up the lizard man. Let's make the lizard man a little bit better. Okay, so let's keep chatting, shall we? So yes, lizards as pets, they're really good pets. They're really quiet. They don't make any noise unless you have geckos, and geckos like to make a lot of noise. I used to have geckos. They were great. I love them. The one I want to get was a Toki gecko, but they stopped selling those. They used to have it at Petland. Those were like the staple ones. Nobody ever bought those because those are the vicious monsters of lizards. The vicious monsters of all lizards were the geckos, were the Toki geckos. They would eat everything, and they would make a ton of noise, and they were just, I wanted one of those. Also, there was one that they had at Petland back in the day, and it was called a Savannah Monitor. Man, I wanted one of them because I remember back in college, back in when I was in my high school, we got my pre-veterinarian classes. There was a thing where they had one, and that was such a mal-tempered creature. Oh my goodness, it was so angry. It's like little dragons and dinosaurs, So, long story short, I didn't get one of those. We ended up getting like one called a butterfly agama. Right, my wife and I, when we just got married, we got a butterfly agama. But before then, I had like a ton of the geckos, and I've had the ones you get to Florida, little Florida green ones. Those are cool. But and then I didn't know how to take care of them so well. But you kind of learn over the course. But then when these people gave me Barb, they gave us an enclosure and gave her the lights. And so we've done a couple improvements for her. We gave her like infrared lights for her to bask, and gave her like the great heat, because if she doesn't have proper heat, she can't digest. And she can't digest, she could get really sick. But she's been really, thank God, so much. She's been doing really well with her body, And there she goes, trying to crawl over again. So she's like, she's pretty docile. She's a docile creature. I'm gonna put her on my left shoulder. On my right. Go up again. All right. And so, yeah. So she eats plants. She doesn't really eat other creatures and stuff like that. Well, I mean, she eats like little bugs and things like that. So, but she's eats like bugs like the waxworms and mealworms. So waxworms turn into moths, so they're like larvae, moth larvae, and then the superworms turn into beetles. And we have a couple beetles. I actually have a collection of spiders too. I like spiders as well. And so spiders are pretty cool. So yes, I have a small collection of spiders. And so we actually had a couple years ago, we had a couple of praying mantis. We had a praying mantis fleet, a horde of praying mantis, right? And what happened was like the praying mantis itself, they were like of the mindset where one that we got, her name was we had one before, Crunchy Georgie. Prince Peter Crunchy Georgie, or Peter Crunchy Georgie. That was what the kids' name. Each one had a name. So one thing was called Prince Peter Crunchy Georgie, and the next one we had was called Green Bean, and that Green Bean was actually a she. We thought it was a he, but it was actually a she, and she laid like 400 eggs, 400, like one Uthaka they call it, and the Uthaka had like 400 little babies in there. So in the middle of December, we had like a whole thing start hatching with like a ton of little baby praying mantis, which is the coolest looking thing you've ever seen. They're so cool and so cute. But by the time May rolled around, which is like, where we're at right now, April, May rolled around, we had a thing where we only had like 3 left, because they would just eat each other. They were like terrible to each other, man. Let me tell you, they just sibling cannibalism, sibling cannibalism. When they'll eat each other till finally one big fat one left, So we're down to 3, and then they also got to the part where they had wings and they can actually fly. So that was really cool. So when they got to the part where they had wings, we're like, okay, that's when we can release them because they're fully formed at that point. And then also, if you're born in the middle of December, you have them for a couple of months, that means, what's going on? You right? You ready, Gary? All right, you want to come back over this way? I'll bring you back to the front. And she's got hooks, Ooh, put you this way. So yeah, I know you guys are here to watch the Barbie. So, got my hair. Yes, the hair is real, folks. My hair is real. So yeah. Anyway, so talk to me, people. Definitely talk to me. Write me something in the chat. Let me kind of respond back to you and have a feedback loop so you can talk to me and I can talk to you and we learn together. All right. So, well, just let me know. My wife and kids went to Chuck E. Cheese tonight and they left me here. They left me. Actually, they didn't leave me. I told them I couldn't go with them because I needed to work on the stuff in the bathroom and in the house, because if you don't do this stuff, it gets kind of out of the way. So I'm just really happy the chance to be able to do that. So I'm gonna get this shower done really, really quickly. Oh goodness! Don't fall. Oh, come on. You're not holding on well, girl. This is hi, Rex. Rex says hi, and I say hi back to Rex. So hello, Rex. I'm working on a sculpture right now. And this is pretty much I'm making a lizard man. Maybe make a bearded lizard man. What is that? This on my shoulder, this is a bearded dragon. It's a bearded dragon. Her name is Barb. And we've had her for about 5 years now. And so she's really cool. She's been like a really cool lizard. The longest lizard I ever had before her was we had to call the butterfly Gamma, and we had a male and female couple. And their names were the Solomon and the Shulamite, like from the Song of Solomon. So one called them Sally and Shuli, So this one here, what I'm making a lizard man. I'm making a lizard man and just kind of like in the process of just kind of doing that. So she's kind of just sitting on my shoulder, just chilling. All right. She's gonna bite my hair. Like, ah. Yes, bearded dragons actually have venom, and they're mild venom. It's not that they hurt us or kill us, but it's not to kill their food. So just food for thought. It's like digestive enzymes, So here's that. There's this one here, making the hands for this one here. She got like the little creature. This hello. And on my shoulder, there's Barbie. Hold on. I hope you don't slide off. Okay, here it goes. Like that. All right, cool. Put it like that. Yes, her fingers are sharp. You can see that, right? Yeah. So she's pretty cool with it. She's chill. When I pretty much, I'm gonna watch more of The Walking Dead later, and so pretty much. But first, I'm gonna fix the bathroom. When I'm done with that, with the chat today, I'm gonna go fix that. It has been interesting, like back to work. Work has been a challenge in terms of like I just look forward to the day when I can actually have my art business take off and that more people will support and go to the to like our Patreon and to ask for commissions and stuff, because that's always cool when people ask me to make commissions for them. I just absolutely enjoy that because when I make commissions, the whole process I record it, and then also it helps me make more stuff. So it's been kind of like a lull. I think it's because right now we're kind of a lot of people have like it's been money wise for people, but I think also that sometimes people understand what I'm capable of doing. So that's what I tell you. That's why I'm glad that you guys are here, so I can actually show you guys what I'm able to do and do it live. So while I'm sitting here talking to you, I can actually in a sense have a recording of this, because there comes a day when you don't do this stuff anymore. There comes a day when you just say, okay, well, it's time to do something else. But so in the meantime though, I'm just learning, and I just love this because it's great. But so for the most part, though, when I go to work, I have to work at the airport, and it's a pretty interesting job. You have to solve problems every day, And sometimes there's no problems to solve, as a matter of fact, sometimes you just have a chance to kind of sit there and think about stuff. And I really like that. I like the fact that you get a chance to sit and think about stuff. As when we were working during the pandemic, right? Pretty much I was working before at Home Depot, hardware store, and what ended up happening was like we made this our business primarily. We were making and selling a lot of these masking tape art, which was really cool because people ask us to make like can you make this person? Nobody ever asked me to make Deadpool, and no one's ever asked me that. But the thing is, they've asked me to make like Wolverine, and they've asked me to make like Alien Queen, or they asked me to make like the Predator, and so I have all these different ones, So I'm always making stuff. So I just love that. So I definitely, if you guys want me to make something for you, please let me know, and I can do that as a commission. You can find me on my One Life Must Art .proton.me, the proton.me. So One Life Must Art is my email, all right? At proton.me, proton.me. So like proton, like a neutron, electron, electron, neutron. Well, proton, it's like proton is like the one that sits still, and the electron flies around that. So proton me is my email for that. So yeah, definitely. So if you want to write me a message and let's say, hey Greg, can you make this thing for me? And I say, sure, I can make this. Let me show you how much it is. So, and I send you like an invoice or whatever. You pay half, and then we just go from there. Because I try not to make things where people they may not pay later, because you know how that goes. They say thank you and they disappear. So yes, you do want to do that. You don't do that. And also, if you can do super chat, if you guys super chat me, definitely I send you one. I'll definitely send you a sculpture if you want to super chat me. So the biggest super chat or any super chat would be great. But anyway, so my family, they went to Chuck E. Cheese. They're having a good time right now, and I'm here. And then I'm like really just I'm really just happy to be home. I am. Being home is one of the greatest things a person can have after you work really hard at work. And then you come home, you do another kind of work. It's time you spend time with your family and your children, and I love that. I just love it. So we're gonna probably watch a nice movie tonight, and we've been watching the Next Generation, Star Trek: The Next Generation. Kind of going through the whole series. I'm telling you, that's pretty wild, man. Let me tell you, I didn't remember being that wild. It's wild like crazy. But then the other part is like also watching The Walking Dead with my wife, and then so my son started watching Courage the Cowardly Dog, and those of you who have ever seen Courage the Cowardly Dog, that's one of those shows from Nickelodeon. Right? From Cartoon Network, right? Nickelodeon. The Cartoon Network. And oh goodness, I have a Cartoon Network shirt somewhere. I feel like you're going to slide down, Barbie. You be careful, okay? Don't you fall on the floor. There's a cushion on there, but still. So the thing is like, there's a thing where it's like, you have it where, what's what I'm looking for? Okay, yeah. The thing is like, you have it where, Courage the Cowardly Dog. It was I was thinking about Eek the cat, because the Courage the Cowardly Dog and Eek the cat. He's always trying to help, and then he had Annabelle was his girlfriend. But as for Eek, not Eek, as for Courage, he's always trying to solve these problems. And I didn't understand it, but I learned later that he actually cares a lot about Muriel. Muriel's the lady, and she has the old lady accent and stuff like that. Whereas, I want to say like she's Irish or something, or Scottish or something. But Muriel and Eustace is like always the one calling him, you stupid dog, always the time, right? So for the most part, that when you have it like, you're just kind of watching this, and I didn't understand because it just seems so like tacky, right, and so lame. And when I was watching it before as a kid, you watch like 3 or 4 episodes and it goes to the next thing, and you're like, okay, Courage the Cowardly Dog, kind of funny. And they have the Cats Motel. But then now it's like, okay, now you've seen the whole thing. You're like, okay, this is crazy, because now you're seeing the thing where it's like, all right, now you understand how it is. You understand how it makes sense and stuff, So as you're going through that, it's one of those things where you're just like, okay, this Courage the Cowardly Dog is, I didn't understand his motivation, and I understand to protect Muriel. His motivation is definitely to protect her. He doesn't care so much about Eustace. Anything could happen to Eustace. As a matter of fact, they seem like they just let him get captured or something, or to let him turn into the monster later. But as for Muriel, he'll protect Muriel because she always loves Courage. She's always concerned, and he's always trying to save her from whatever trouble befalls them, So if it happens to just Eustace, be like, whatever. But if it happens to Muriel, he will go out there and protect. So that's an interesting take. I never quite, because when you sit there and you watch something like, over or watch something for a long time, you really kind of get the handle of the gist of it. Like watching The Walking Dead, right? we've been watching this show. We watched it up to season 4 now, right? And I was so happy with the end of season 3. I really was. I was like, I cannot believe how cool this show is. This show is one of those shows that are just like, my goodness, they did a really good take. I mean, like, it's good when they actually have stuff that works well. It's even better when it's like, they do a good job of telling the story or making the story good, or I don't know, whatever it is, right? They do, and the story was so well. It just had me riveted. And you know how it is. They always have people that make the bad decisions and people make the good decisions and stuff like that, And so for the most part, though, you have it where the people are making, it's just a regular show. It's just a show, and it's just so intriguing. And I like it because we just went through the whole pandemic thing, right? And it was just like, how did people deal during that time? And it made me really consider that, if you're in a situation like how the guy Rick Grimes is, right? What would you do? And I know it's not real, but we were just in something so similar, where people are seriously scared. Some of us, don't believe it was real in terms of the stuff. Some people really believe it was real. They believe that some of the stuff they went through, the fear factor, the loss of life, to not be able to go to visit people in the hospital. Well, we had our share fear of that. We had things where people weren't able to go and visit family. We weren't able to go. There was a thing during the time. I actually went to visit my wife's mother, and they were like all like crazy. They wouldn't, just a whole lot of stuff. But, and my wife is very resilient. She's a resilient person, and I thank God for her because she's able to do a lot of stuff and together we're like, a really good team of being able to solve a lot of problems. So we were like a power couple, but for the most part, we still are. And so the thing is, like, we're going to celebrate 23 years of marriage this year, and we're looking forward to that. It's going to be great. And it's been like just a lot of things we've gone through, but my wife is very resilient. She's a very strong person, and she's able to do a lot of stuff. But she's been through a lot herself. She has a lot of history, a lot of things that happened to her, and so it's like, it was such a cool thing when we met each other and got into a relationship. It was just like we love the same things. People always talk about, like, opposites attract and all that stuff, but no, it's actually a similarities attract. Things that are too opposite are just the contradictory. If you like, you like the soda and the other person hates soda, you have a trouble already because you're going to have to sneak soda or have the person who doesn't like it get it for you. But if you have something where you work together and people love it, you just, you love what you love and the person loves you too and they love it as well, you get to enjoy it together. It's like a friendship, It's good to have a friend that's, your spouse is your friend. So you can go and do a lot of stuff together, right? So when you do stuff, when you do stuff, I keep the modified. When you do stuff together, it's really cool because you're not alone. Like they said in the Mad Max Fury Road, it was witness me, right? That is the truth. The wild boy, war boys. The war boys were saying, right? Say that they were saying witness me. And when they said witness me, it was for the people to see that they're doing a noble and worthy thing as it coming to an end, their last thing in life. And it says, witness me, They say, well, marriage is kind of like that. Marriage is about a witnessing. You're not going to be alone when you go through something. When you have a person that's your friend, you marry somebody that's really a good friend, you get a chance to actually, have the adventure of going through life and somebody's there to go with you with it, that you're not by yourself, and you go with them as well. Because the first thing that happened when I got married was my mom. My mom got sick. The very first thing. We didn't come back from our honeymoon yet. My mom was already sick unto death. She had like ovarian cancer. And what's sad about that is, like, it's just, there's so many things. I mean, I don't know where you stand with the whole cancer industry, and I've just been looking forward to the day when they'll get their comeuppance and stuff, because the Food and Drug Administration, they did a lot of stuff to us. And maybe it's not the channel or the time to talk about this right now, but one of the things I'll just say is, just as you're going through life, you start to see that there's certain things that people have, like cause and effect. There's a cause and effect aspect to life. There's certain things that you do that will cause things, and sometimes there's something that, I don't think there's no coincidence. I think that everything happens for a reason. The reason why you guys watch me tonight is because you guys believe in what I'm doing. You believe that what I'm doing is cool, and you really like it. And I love doing this, so I'm going to try to do another one again next week. I'm trying to get into a rhythm of it, by the way, but the thing is, like, nothing happens by coincidence. You guys want to be here, and I appreciate you being here. So definitely, keep me, if you like what you see, definitely give me a thumbs up and like it in the chat and write me messages, and I'll respond. I will talk with you as much as possible, because I just enjoy this stuff, Even that guy in the chat, he was talking about how his girl left him. I mean, that's kind of rough, you know. I'm not sure what that even means, you know. But thank you, Rex, for talking and saying hi. You know, and yes, this I'm making like a creature, making a lizard man, and then I'm gonna go back to fixing up the bathroom because I was just kind of process of doing that. I want to get that done before my family comes home, and then I'm gonna probably cook something and get something to eat because that's how it is. You know, you have to eat. If you don't eat, you start like getting all wobbly. You know, and with a lizard on my neck. See that? So yeah, definitely I can do this with a lizard on my neck. You know, pail of water. I might do one like I'm actually body painted and do one as I'm body painted or something. I usually do a body paint today. I might do it tomorrow. I don't know. I might do it like I might do it like later tonight. But I want to get the sink done first because right now I have the sink kind of tied up in the bathroom. I would definitely show you guys what it looks like, but y'all see it in picture somewhere. For the most part though, this is like it's like things I like to make, like making creatures like this. It goes like a creature. So trying to figure out where's the right there. Yeah, but he's not complete yet. He's not finished yet. Give him all his cool spikes. Someone's like, he's got the cool like neck thing, and he's got the whole body thing, and yeah, the lizard is one of my favorite characters in Marvel. Spider-Man, Spider-Man, he could have gotten beat by the lizard. He could have, and they even had the lizard. Lizard actually made it to, the Gary Webb Spider-Man, or which I like with Garfield. I thought it was cool. So anyway, so what happens is like back to what I was saying before. Yeah, so you have you just gotta spend time with your family. Okay, make sure you can. Make sure you do that, and make sure that you spend time with them learning the important stuff. The Bible talks about like when you rise up in the morning and teach them, and as you go throughout your day and as you go on your job, you're supposed to really take your kids with you everywhere. You're supposed to be like little copies of you. But what happens like with our school system is that where you put your kids to school while you pursue making new jobs and stuff like that. And it's hard because it's like you come back and every day your kid's a little bit more stranger, a little bit more like the world, and they make you think that you can't train your own children. But it's like those people who make you think you can't train your own children are ones training our children. It's like dude, really? Why do you guys go through this whole scenario making us think we can't even teach our own people? And it's like so it's like why do we even trust the system, right? That doesn't make us sufficient enough to even teach our own kids. But through thousands of generations, people have been like teaching their children how to do stuff, business, how to raise the camels, how to how to till the soil, and they survived. I mean they had to be ship kids and and how to make stuff. They had different labor laws, of course, but then it was like you had different labor laws and things like that, so you wouldn't abuse children, but the thing was like the majority of it was throughout society, people were like they had their kids with them. The kids helped take care of the sheep and the goats, and they took care of the animals, and they made the linen, and they did the stuff. The kids did all that stuff, And it's like our kids, praise God, thank God for my wife and her resilience, because what happens is like our kids can do a lot of stuff because we taught them. We taught them a lot, and we spent a lot of time just kind of working with them and being with them. So with that, we have kids that are just really well. I don't talk much about my children, my family, but it's like my kids are, they're gonna be better off than I was in terms of like financially, because we teach them finances, how to do finances, and be like financially literate. Because like there's a Boyce Watkins, Dr. Boyce Watkins talks about that, how many times black kids are not financially literate. They don't know anything about anything. They just know about the latest stupid trends, and those stupid trends are stupid. Okay, they're stupid. They keep you like distracted. It's like following like the song says, "Don't go chasing waterfalls," right? You're just chasing waterfalls. Like, oh, it's so cute, it's wonderful, but it's like you're going over a waterfall, when it could really be learning stuff, See, for example, like this stuff here. This is such a cool thing, a cool task to be able to make creatures and people and stuff, And then what you can do with this, because it's so versatile, you can actually go and pose them and bring them places, So I've been watching that guy making the engine stuff, and that engine guy is really cool. I give a total shout out to the engine guy, the paper engines man. He is shout out, respects. I hope we get a chance to listen to this. Somehow it gets back to him. I totally respect him for the art that he does. Because he did something that was like an engineering thing, and he made pistons out of paper, and the pistons out of paper reminds me of like a lot of the Minecraft stuff. My daughter is like so into Minecraft. She does such a well that she makes all the engines and stuff like that. She reads the books about it and she applies it, and that's pretty much the scenario. That's what it is. You see, everything in life is about you take the information and you apply it and you make the world better, Because there's you watch watching the Walking Dead. The information I'm getting from that is that that a leader needs a break. Like for example, Rick Grimes, he needs a break. He can't be the hero of the world. There's only one hero of the world. That's name is Jesus. He's the hero of the world. But what happens is that you have this scenario where people are like, it's a show, right? But it touches on real life issues. That's what makes good shows really good, is when they actually have these elements that just touch, like when we watched like Firefly. I know there was the Critical Drinker. He did like a video talking about like the how we totally lost when it came to Firefly, right? Because the show Firefly was too good for normal TV. They gave like half the budget. They give all this garbage budgets now to people and to stuff and messages and things like that. When in fact they have some really good television, real good TV that was made for way less budget, and they had to kind of like do stuff and figure things out, And it's like, but now it's like they just give you so. And so when you don't have much, you could become creative. When you have a lot, sometimes you take it for granted. It's like toilet paper. Oh my word! When we have like rolls and rolls of toilet paper, people get freaked out, But if you have one roll of toilet paper, you got to get very creative with one roll of toilet paper. But for the most part, though, I just my point being is like you have these things where you never quite tell. So your kids are one of those things where you just definitely want to make sure you teach them about financial literacy, how to read the stock market, how to what are the S&P 500, what is index funds, what are growth stocks, what are income things. I'm going to look more and more into that, because those things, financial stuff, people are all about that. People need, because when you have money, you have options, things you can do. And they say about the rich people, now I'm not giving you advice, but they say rich people, they do, is that they actually, they don't sell their assets. They make money off of their assets. And what an asset is, like what Robert Kiyosaki was saying, an asset is what puts money into your pocket. You are your greatest asset. You are an asset because you can make money. And that which makes money, your ability, you are a number one resource, So your ability to do that is that. So companies have figured out how to get money out of you, like Netflix subscriptions and stuff. I remember back in the day, I can't stand that Netflix stuff where you have it where you get binge watching and stuff. I like the behind the scenes. I absolutely love behind the scenes stuff. I love to know how things are put together. I love how things are, how things they work and stuff. I like how when people come together and try to solve problems, I like that. I've always, don't slide. Oh, okay. I don't want you falling off me, okay, baby? All right, baby. All right, girl. All right. What happens is like, you have this thing where I've always loved choir when people sing like the Christmas carols together. I like that. I don't like when people sing like just the whole churchy band where they're jumping up and down and doing all kind of foolishness and twerking and all that stuff. I mean, that's just ridiculous, right? And so we're coming to the end of our time. Right now it's 5:57, but coming to the end of our time, and I'm almost done. I almost made like a whole character here, and I was gonna give him some spikes and stuff, which I still might do, because I make a lizard man with spikes. Bearded lizard man. But my time is almost running out, so I'm gonna let's see, what time is it now? Yeah, I got 4 minutes. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna keep talking with you, and hopefully one of you guys might want to give me a super chat. But definitely give me a thumbs up in the chat. But give me topics. Next week I'm gonna try and do the same thing again, and I need you guys, please tell your friends what we can do to make more stuff. I love making art. I do. I just do it, and I want to get back into making classes again, because classes for me were great. But I like teaching people, so I have my Patreon. It's all about teaching. For $5 a month, you can actually support my art. For $5 a month, you get access to all of my classes. So you can actually learn how to do all this cool stuff, masking tape artwork. And I show you step by step how to do it on my Patreon. My Patreon is only $5 a month, and you can learn as much as you can in that time, because I'm always putting out new material out there. Well, I used to try to. And then, oh goodness, don't slide, girl. I feel like you're gonna slide off. Yep. Okay, I'm gonna put you a little further down. Okay. Get a closer shot. There's Barbie. Anyway, so with that, this is like, I'm almost done. I just gotta make the feet. See right there? I'm just gonna finish up the feet real quick. See if I can do that while you're watching. And because it's kind of hard to. I'm all hunched over now. I got a lizard on my shoulder. How I started liking lizards, by the way, was because I like dinosaurs. I'll let you know that, right? So if they ever start entertaining about dinosaurs become birds, what they've been saying for like ever, that would change it, because I don't like birds, okay? I don't like birds. I like planes, but I don't like birds. I think birds are That's why I don't make any birds. You see me? I always make creatures, like lizards and stuff, right? And I don't like birds. I just don't. I think they're interesting and cool at times, but my love is the lizards and reptilians and the turtles and the crocodilians. I don't like snakes so much, but I do like lizards and turtles, and I also like the frog world, and of course I like the diplocotyledons, which are like they're like hammerhead salamanders and stuff, which I love. But for the most part, though, I love them because they're kind of unique. And even though reptiles are far superior to like everything, because they can live in all kind of environments, underwater and stuff, and land, and they eat all kind of things. I mean, I guess the next superior things would be like the primates and stuff like that. And then you have all the secret. I don't like dolphins. Don't you know that? I don't. I know people who love them and stuff, but I don't. Ever since I found out what dolphins are, I just nope, not interested anymore. And same thing with the killer whales, the orcas and stuff. I used to like them too. Nope, not anymore. And that's how I make this. And then because the killer whales are called killer of whales. That's what they are. They're killer whales. Killer of whales. Then the ones I do like, I like the big old sperm whales. I love those. Those are great because them suckers they fight with the giant colossal squid, and I love that the giant squid. I love the like octopi. I really care about. I like spiders. I like spiders. At first, I didn't like them. I was terrified of them. But like in everything else, when I'm afraid of a challenge, I understand it, and I learn to respect it. And after that, I learn to like really like them. So I make a lot of spiders and stuff like that. So maybe I'll make a spider next time when I do our next class. But we'll see. But for the most part, though, I've kept to my word, and I wanted to make sure I did like an hour at least once, so we can talk with you guys, let you guys see how it goes, the stuff that we're working on, and so. I just wanted to say thank you. But definitely, if you're still watching me, just please say something in the chat before I go. Let me know what you're thinking about something or the next topic to talk about, because it's an honor to have you here. And if you can just write something, I would really appreciate that. Let me just something cool, so we can depart this chat on, and be like just definitely in the chat write something, write hi, write hello, write write about what creature I should make for the next one, kind of thing, things like that, something like that. So we have this. I made like a lizard man, lizard man, and I have a lizard on my shoulder. My lizard, who's the ruler. So there's that one. But for the most part, though, I want to say thank you so much for watching my channel tonight. I appreciate it. I'm gonna try to make some more videos and keep working on the car. We still have car issues we have to deal with, but one of the major ones we got a chance to get that done, and so I'm very happy that we did get that done, because fixing the ignition coil caused the car to stop having the check engine problem. So the check engine problem, which was a throwing code P0300 and P0302, has now been cleared, and it cleared, and it was not there. So that was the problem. It was the ignition coil kind of making the situation and scenario, right? And so I'm gonna make this into a lizard lady. So I'm gonna give her lady parts, her lady lumps. So, but for the most part, I just want to end that right there. My friends, I want to thank you so much for watching my show tonight. And again, I want to thank you for just being here. You could have been anywhere else, and you decided to be here with me. So I want to say God bless you. And I'll see you again next week, unless I do another video between now and then, which I might. But just want to say thank you again. So I'm going to go back to working on the bathroom and get that knocked out. And then I'm going to just have a little meal and then probably take a rest, because tomorrow is a big old day coming up, right? So I want to say God bless you. Thank you so much for watching. And thank you. All right. God bless. And peace. And bye.